All right, day 3 of VBS. This, to me, might be the most important day because this is where the kids begin to understand, like, who they are and their situation in life. And let me explain that. We're going to talk about the story of Adam and Eve. And so there's going to be a 2-part thing with your small groups, okay? You are going to tell them the story of Adam and Eve, but you're probably only going to have maybe 10 minutes this time, okay? And I know it's an action-packed story with not very much time. So the idea that they need to know is that, Adam and Eve lived in this garden that God made for them, and that things were good. Because again, we've learned that God made good things, but they messed up. What Adam and Eve do, of course, is God tells them not to eat of this fruit, and they directly disobey God. And we see that God's not happy with it, and he basically kicks them out of the garden. So again, read that story in Genesis, and take a look at it, write down some questions, and talk to them about what happens in the story. And one thing that I would like for you to just at least mention, because I'll take them from here and we'll talk more, and that's a loud truck. But what we'll talk about is how this sin, and we'll kind of talk about what sin means, because these are difficult church words for kids. But we'll talk about how, like, their mess ups or the sin causes a separation between them and God. And how that happened with Adam and Eve, and that happens to us. So maybe a good thing to ask is ask the kids, what are some bad things that you've done? I know that can be be careful with that question, right? But make sure that the kids understand what sin is by just asking them about some bad things, like lying and cheating and not doing what your mom and dad say and those kinds of things. Okay, so then I'm going to pull all the kids who are all at the same time. I'm going to pull them off I'm going to have some hay bales. And I'm going to put some water on tarps in the hay bales. And I'm going to tell the kids, imagine that this hay bale goes on forever, like this gulf goes on forever. How would you cross this? How would you get to the other side? And I'm going to field their answers, see what they think. I'll re-emphasize this idea that, guys, as we think about how to physically get across this water, imagine if this water was a gulf that dropped forever. Imagine if this was a real separation. And imagine if God was on the other side. So imagine if you're on this side and God's on the other side, how would you get to God? And so I'll field some of those answers as well. And the idea, guys, is that I want the kids to understand by seeing a picture or a metaphor that we are separated from God because of our sin. And what the difficult thing is I'm not going to give them the answer on Thursday. I'm going to ask the kids to think about it, talk to their parents about it, pray about it, think about how you can, get closer to God. How could you cross this gulf? And I'll tell them the answer on Friday. So that's basically how Thursday will go with our small group time. Is we'll tell the story of Adam and Eve. We'll ask some questions, ask the kids about what sin is and get some examples, and we'll have that metaphor of the hay bales and the separation, okay? So next video, I'll tell you basically, how day 4 is going to go, how we're going to solve this problem of the separation. All right, so this is the end of video number 3.